Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into one of the most wildly ambitious intellectual projects I've ever come across. We're talking about a single, unified system that's designed to explain, well, pretty much everything. It's all part of the Istefham Encyclopedia.
Okay, let's just jump right in. What do quantum physics, ancient Greek philosophy, and a plan for global unity all have in common? I know, it sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, right? But what if I told you that these completely separate worlds are actually the three main pillars of one single massive project? A project that tries to draw a straight line from the tiniest particles to the biggest questions facing humanity. So this entire endeavor, known as the Istefham Encyclopedia, all comes from the mind of one thinker, Mathlouthi SaïfALLH, and his goal, it is just mind-blowing. He's trying to build what you can think of as an intellectual pyramid, starting with the most basic, undeniable truths and building, layer by layer, all the way up to solving physics' deepest mysteries and even charting a course for civilization. And today, we're going to climb that pyramid together.
So, with a project this huge, where do you even begin? Well, like any good structure, you need a rock-solid foundation. And for this pyramid, that foundation isn't made of stone, it's made of the very idea of truth itself. I mean, before you can explain anything, you first have to agree on what it even means for something to be true.
Right off the bat, this project makes a really strong choice. It completely rejects the modern idea that truth is relative. You know, the what's true for you isn't true for me idea. That's the sophist view. Instead, it plants its flag firmly in the Socratic tradition. It argues that truth, with a capital T, is absolute. It's objective. It's not something we invent or argue into existence. It's something we discover using pure, cold, hard reason. And this right here, this is the entire method in a nutshell. The journey to understanding everything doesn't start by looking at the outside world, because that can fool you. Nope. It starts inside, by logically picking apart our own thoughts. The idea is to just strip away every single assumption until you're left with principles that are logically impossible to deny.
Okay, so we have our foundation of absolute truth. Now what? The next layer of the pyramid is built using only the tools of pure logic. And from that foundation, it tries to answer maybe the biggest question of all time. Why is there something instead of just nothing?
All right, stick with me here. The project lays out this four-step logical chain almost like a mathematical proof. It's a fresh take on a really old philosophical argument. It starts with the one thing you can't possibly doubt, the fact that you exist. Because to even doubt it, you have to be there doing the doubting. Then it argues something can't just pop out of pure nothing, and it can't create itself because that's a flat-out contradiction. So the only logical conclusion left, it says, is that everything that exists has to trace back to one single, uncaused first cause. And from that one single conclusion, the project then starts logically figuring out what this first cause must be like. And this is the crucial part. These attributes, being eternal, outside of space, unchanging, they aren't presented as things you just have to believe. The argument is that these are the direct, rational requirements for what a first cause must be if it's going to exist without breaking logic. So now we're reaching the very top of the pyramid. This is where things get really interesting, because the project takes this very abstract philosophical engine it's built and points it directly at some of our toughest real-world problems, the contradictions in modern physics and the divisions in modern society. Let's start with physics. For about 100 years now, we've had these two amazing theories that just don't get along. You've got Einstein's general relativity, which is perfect for describing the big stuff, planets, galaxies, gravity. Then you have quantum mechanics, which handles the bizarre tiny world of atoms. The problem is, where they meet, like in a black hole, they give completely different, contradictory answers. Relativity predicts impossible things, like infinite density. So the solution this project offers is a theory called DLQRL. Now, it doesn't try to invent some brand new physics. Instead, it's a new logical system for applying the physics we already know. It uses a clever mathematical tool, basically a logical on-off switch. And this switch lets a single equation dynamically flip between the rules of relativity and the rules of quantum mechanics, depending on what's happening physically. It's like having one rule book that knows exactly when to use which chapter. And the payoff for this approach? Well, it's pretty huge.
By creating a consistent way for these two sets of rules to work together, the DL-QRL theory says it can solve some of the most famous, most stubborn problems in science. It gets rid of those pesky infinities and black holes, it makes sure information isn't lost forever, and it even tackles time travel paradoxes by showing why causality is always preserved. But believe it or not, the project's ambition doesn't stop with the universe. It takes that exact same core principle, that search for unity and logical consistency, and applies it to the human world, looking specifically at the challenges of division within modern Islamic civilization. And to build a real-world blueprint for a possible pan-Islamic confederation, the author pulls from, well, everywhere. You've got these foundational Islamic thinkers, like the sociologist Ibn Khaldun, right alongside Western historians like Arnold Toynbee, and even an analyst of economic systems like Karl Marx. The whole point isn't to just copy one ideology, but to pull out universal principles for building a civilization from across all of human history. The whole societal vision is really anchored in this one powerful concept from Ibn Khaldun called asabiyya. You can think of it as a deep social cohesion or group solidarity. The argument here is simple. Just like the universe operates on unified laws, human societies can only really flourish when they're built on a deep foundation of shared purpose and real unity. So, after this incredibly fast climb from the very nature of truth all the way to the future of civilization, what does it all mean? What's the final shape of this incredible intellectual pyramid we've just explored? What we've really seen is just a breathtaking attempt to connect everything. It kicks off with a hardcore Socratic belief in absolute truth, uses pure logic to build a model of reality, and then uses that model to tackle problems on the cosmic scale and on the human scale. It's one continuous logical thread running from philosophy through physics and right into politics. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. This human desire to connect everything, to find that one grand, beautiful theory that explains all of reality, is that the ultimate goal of all knowledge? Or is it our greatest intellectual temptation, a quest that promises total clarity but maybe risks smoothing over the beautiful, messy complexity of it all? That's something to think about. Thanks so much for watching.